Welcome to Hack Hunter, everybody. This is where we review some of the best and worst tattoo artists that are out there. Now, this week, one of our viewers from New Haven, Connecticut wrote in looking for our help. And check out part number 1 if you want to see the artist that we recommend for them. But while the team was out there, we also came across this gentleman. Enter Glenn Mott. Now, he is the owner of Affliction Ink Tattoo and Body Piercing, and he's been at it for somewhere around 15 years, give or take. If you want to check out his work, TattooMan1599 on Instagram. But let me save you some time. Here's some of his horror work. Bam! A little Chucky action for you, but man, yeah, I know Chucky is horrifying on his own, but this tattoo also is pretty horrifying. Let me zoom in here. Look at how squiggly these lines are. Just very, very inconsistent. I did not see many smooth lines throughout the whole thing. Just really, really kind of shaky looking, especially for an artist that's been at it this long. Now, also this color work. Now, you can see how well this blue looks saturated over here, but then over here, when you get to the purple, it looks like it's absolutely not to the proper depth. He's just kind of scratching the surface with it and streaking it in, and it's not creating nice blends. This is definitely not something I should see out of a veteran artist. There should be a lot more pre-planning to something like this. You shouldn't just trace an outline and then when it comes to the coloring, wing it. You know, there needs to be a lot more planning involved, especially with this hair. You can see how scraggly and kind of choppy this hair looks. The color is very, very faint, letting me know he definitely did not take his time doing it. And then also shows he did a background on this half of it, but no background over here. Really kind of strange. Also, why didn't he shave the guy's leg? Look at that. You can see all that hair in there. Major, major red flag, guys. You need an artist that's going to respect you enough to prep the skin properly beforehand. Let me show you a little Michael Myers, though. This one, he looks kind of sad to me. I don't know why. His face looks a little off to me, but again, if I zoom in here, you can see some of these lines are really faint. They're not at the proper depth. They connect in weird places, or they don't connect in others where they're supposed to. So really, really, really inconsistent stuff. This happy little pumpkin cracks me up. But one thing that's really off is there's no reflection in this knife. Usually creating reflections off of metal or glass or anything like that, it's difficult in the world of art. It takes extra time and planning, and it's definitely something he did not take his time to do, and it really, really shows. Again, with his stipple work, definitely did not take his time. He just took the same liner he was using and put a couple random lazy dots in there. So this is the kind of piece that from a distance it might look okay to some people, but you gotta zoom in to see these imperfections and inconsistencies. Here's another piece where it really shows how botched the color work is on his part. You can see this purple to blue fade is just non-existent. You can just see the straight line. It doesn't blend nicely at all. Really just, until you zoom out really far, it doesn't give it that space look that they're going for. Also, big mistake putting an eye, a detailed eye on somebody's elbow. That's a big no-no. You just don't want to put anything detailed on there because it's a different kind of callous skin and it's constantly moving while it's healing. So this is something that you really got to keep in mind when you're trying to design something over your elbow. But overall, the design work of the eye is just botched on its own. There should be a shadow that goes all the way across the iris there, and for some reason he just shadowed the white part of the eye but didn't shadow the iris, and there's no lashes on the underside. Just really seeing a lot of errors. And when it came to his animals, they all kind of had a little bit of an off look, right? There's something a little off about the eyes and the facial expression of this owl here. There should definitely, again, be a shadow right there. It's missing, and he just did bright white eyes there. So you can tell realism really isn't his forte. I see a lot of this redness throughout his shading because you can tell he's going over and over and over areas trying to create a nice soft gray fade, but he's just overworking it and not getting enough ink under the skin, and that's why you see these patches of red in areas where his shading is. Instead of having a nice shade, you get this blood coming through the shade instead. Also, these trees were very cheaply done, really quickly done. They kind of look like just burnt twigs at this point, and I'm seeing a lot of that through a lot of artist portfolios lately. People are coming in asking for these trees, and they're just getting these burnt little twig looking pine trees. It's really unfortunate. But this wolf, first off, it's obviously a cover-up, right? There's something there in the nose and the mouth that was underneath this tattoo, so you should not have been doing a light gray tattoo as a cover-up. Light gray does not cover darker things. It's light. That's not meant for a cover-up. Again, the eyes look really funny, and if I really zoomed into here, that looks a lot more like a buffalo than a wolf to me, so just really strange shape to the head. This one down here has definitely got a belly going on. Maybe it's a pregnant wolf. I don't know. I guess I don't want to judge. Here's another one where I just saw line errors galore. Look at these music notes. Just tore up, and the skin is just beat to all hell right there in the ditch of the arm. That's a part of the body where every artist knows you got to go a little bit easier on the skin. You got to go a little bit shallower and keep your angles proper, or you're just going to get beat up skin like that. Same with the wrist. Another delicate area you can see he's just beating it up. And it's unfortunate because these grays aren't even coming out smooth, so he's just beating up the skin for no reason apparently. And here's another thing, another example of that glare effect I was saying. He really, on the Michael Myers knife, he didn't do any glare effect. On this glare effect, he outlined it. And this is something that I would say to watch out for. You don't want an artist outlining your glare effects. It just makes them look 10 times less realistic. It's unfortunate. Here's his lion. You guys know I'm harsh on the lions. This one definitely looks lumpy. Again, beat up skin. I'm seeing a lot of redness throughout. Lets me know he's really struggling with that light gray stuff. He did a real kind of cheap job on the hair here. Just whipped it in with the edge of his shader real quickly. But it doesn't have that sort of natural kind of frayed look that a lion's hair has to it out in the wild. But also these colored eyes. Guys, if you're going in, you're getting a portrait of an animal, especially a lion, and you tell the artist to do colored eyes, trust me, you're probably the 100th person that month to tell the artist to do color in just the eyes. I don't know where this trend came from, but man, trust trust me, it's no longer a unique thing, guys. Last thing I'll harp on his, because I saw a lot of pocket watches in his portfolio. So a lot of them had these gears on the inside, or at least his attempt at them. And this one, you can see at least one gear here, and it lets you know that the rest are supposed to be. But what is this one? Looks like a little fried egg there. It's kind of funny shaped. But then I'll go to another one. This one gets even lazier. Less lines and just some kind of spiky what's supposed to be a gear there. But yeah, really hard to tell what's going on. And then this one was the worst of the worst. Just some random jumble of lines, and we'll call it good. So this one, when it healed, it looked even worse. Just blotchy. You can tell where he's really having trouble controlling the depth of his line work, because some of these areas just come out real blotchy and others come out too faint. Lets you know he's really just going either too shallow or too deep. And also on a lot of his white work, all I saw was this simple little string line of white in everything. And this is kind of an old school thing. Artists did it back in the day when white started to become more popularized to use it. They would just dip their liner at the very end and use their liner to apply white. Artists nowadays are getting a little bit more tricky with it and a little bit more elaborate, so it looks nicer. But in all of his portfolio, I just saw this little line of white on petals and just little dots of it in areas. Just really kind of lazily done, not a lot of forethought or effort put into it. And so I saw it throughout his whole portfolio, not a lot of effort put into a lot of places. So Glenn Mott, I'm sorry, goes on our hack list.